This week's episode is sponsored by the Brilliant Futures Institute. Welcome to the Preeminence Podcast.
You cannot be a courageous leader if you're not vulnerable.
Your legacy is every life you've touched.
The only thing that changes our life long term is when we raise our standards.
And now is the time to take risk.
The way it's always been done isn't necessarily the way it should be done.
What is your dream? What do you think 2050, 2100 is going to look like?
The most incredible sort of mystery, I think, is now the question of what comes next.
Stay hungry, stay foolish.
Welcome to the Preeminence Podcast. I'm your host, Matthew J. Peters. Visit preeminence.tv to learn more about how to create a preeminent presence for your business, organization, or personal brand. Be sure to subscribe on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, SoundCloud, or just ask Alexa to play the Preeminence Podcast. Create peace, but not at the cost of your principles. You know, I am all for harmony. Harmony does amazing things for any organization or relationship you have, your partnership, your joint ventures, your significant other, your children, your harmony with creation. But when we're out of harmony, it's very obvious to us, isn't it? We're out of harmony in our body. We feel aches and pains. We don't feel well. We feel tired. When we're out of harmony with relationships, there's arguments, there's shutting each other down. There is lack of communication. And when there's disharmony in business, that someone could get fired, or there is people trying to sabotage each other, or there's a lot of back talking, or talking behind someone's back. So how do you keep harmony in a relationship? I'm going to focus specifically on business. If you're a leader, how do you create even more harmony? One way to think about harmony is in music. Obviously, we've all heard harmonies when we are listening to music, harmonies in voices and the chorus and choirs. And let's start with an A, like just a fundamental A. It's 110 hertz. And then an octave is 220. Perfect fifth is 330. An octave from that is 440. Major third is 550 hertz. Perfect fifth is 660. A seventh harmonic is 770. An octave is 880. All starting with the fundamental of 110. Now, if I have a friend, let's say, who is a hertz of 110, and I let go of who I am and my principles, and I be just like them, I'm at 110 too. Oh yeah, we agree on everything. Guess what? One of us is not necessary. Harmony occurs in music when two pitches vibrate at frequencies in small integer ratios. Perfect fifth, major third, and so forth. If I'm going to be in perfect pitch, that means we have two people that think exactly the same. Harmony means I'm bringing something to the table that's different. I'm bringing texture. I'm bringing nuance, but we're in harmony. We are in the same mathematical frequency. We don't want discord, disharmony. We don't need cacophony in our relationship in a business. Everybody in different pitches, everybody in their own tuning. The leader has to be like that conductor that gets everyone to be on pitch with one instrument, being the violin or the viola or the piano or whatever it is. He asks for the note, and then everybody follows that. That is what you need to do as a leader. And then off of that, if you want harmony, you make sure everybody is on pitch when they're doing the perfect fifth, the major third, and so forth. It's mathematics. One person that talked about how important harmony is in a relationship, in a business, is Napoleon Hill. He's got so many quotes on harmony in relationships of business. And I would just want to read a couple of them for you. When two or more people coordinate in a spirit of harmony and work toward a definite objective, they place themselves in position through that alliance to absorb power directly from the great universal storehouse of infinite intelligence. Wow. I'm going to say that again. When two or more people coordinate in a spirit of harmony and work toward a definite objective, they place themselves in a position through that alliance to absorb power directly from the great universal storehouse of infinite intelligence. We are both in harmony and hitting that same goal, that same objective. Now we have 2 people. Now we have 4 people. We have 12 people all focusing on that one objective in harmony. There isn't anybody that's out of line in discord wanting to do their own thing as a rebel. We're all focusing on that same thing. And then talking about the mastermind, you create this mastermind or another mind when you are in harmony with 2 or 3 or 4 or 10 or 100 people. No 2 minds ever come together without a third invisible force, which may be likened to a third mind. When a group of individual minds are coordinated in a function of harmony, the increased energy created through that alliance becomes available to every individual in the group. That's that collective consciousness within that group. I'm going to read this again. No 2 minds ever come together without a third invisible force, which may be likened to a third mind. When a group of individual minds are coordinated and function in harmony, the increased energy created through that alliance becomes available to every individual in the group. When you have harmony in music, something new is created. A new tone is created that wasn't there before. The synergy between the octaves or the major thirds or the perfect fifths or whatever, you hear another tone. It's richer, it's deeper, it's fuller. Imagine now a symphony in harmony. This is where we get such beautiful sounds of all the soundtracks from movies and the classical music. Yes, sometimes they use minors and they use dissonance, but I'm talking about specifically the most powerful moving music that we're most familiar with. It has that harmony. Every rock song you can think of, you have the verses, you chorus, and the harmony. It just adds the memorability to it. So your assignment, if I were to give you one, and if you wanted to do this as a leader, was to find out how you can have things in common, have that common ground with people you may have differences with. And instead of focusing on the differences and who's going to win, you focus on what the common ground is. That's where you can have harmony. Start there. Work together on the common ground. If you are a Democrat and the other person's a Republican, you have someone who is agnostic or atheist and the other person is a Christian or a Jewish person, or you're Christian and the other person is Muslim. What do you have in common? We are humans. We have more in common than we have that is not in common. Our differences are usually just thoughts that other people projected onto us saying, this is what's right, this is what's wrong. But when you get to know the individual, get down to it, we all want the same thing. There's like 5 or 7 different things that every human wants for themselves, for their family, for their future. Why don't you just focus on those things? Have common ground and harmony on those things. Get that foundation strong. Now you have a foundation that the 2 or 4 or 10 or 1,000 of you all have in common. And you can work towards the one common goal using those forces, using that energy, instead of focusing on your differences and who's going to be right and who's wrong. We had the tragedy in the United States on September 11th, 2001. And it was amazing, especially in New York City. My brother talked about this, how everybody was helping each other out. How our differences disappeared, how we all felt like one big family. We were all in this together. Before the political backlash and the military stuff that went on, immediately people were together helping each other out because we focused on our common ground rather than the differences. In your business, in your partnership, in your organization, on your team, what can you do to focus on your common ground and have harmony and boost the harmony instead of focusing on the difference in who's in control, who's right, who's in power? Be the leader by having a vision and saying, here's the vision. What skills do you have? What skills do the other people have? How can we use that to have harmony? How can we have individual respect for each other? And so you don't have to lose your principle. Have that common ground. Create peace and harmony, but don't do that at the cost of your principle. I did this for years because I was a peacemaker. I wanted to make sure everybody was happy all the time. I wanted to make sure there was no arguments. I wanted to make sure there was never any hard feelings. Guess what? If you're going to lead, you're going to have some hard feelings. You're going to have some hard conversations. You're going to disagree with people. People are going to disagree with you, and you can still be friends, and you can still work on the same team, and you can still grow an organization. If everybody thought the same way, you'd all be in the same pitch. You just have louder and louder pitch instead of having the textures and the new tone and have that third sound that is the amalgamation of everybody who is a part of this vision. That vision is going to happen a lot faster when you have a lot of people working in harmony.
Thank you for listening to the Preeminence Podcast. Subscribe to hear powerful interviews and insights each week automatically downloaded the moment they go live. Share this episode with your team, your friends, and post it on social media. Let us know your comments and suggestions for the show at m@ascend.net. That's the letter M @ASYND.net.